Hello Internet, I am the hero of Julios once again with another Dungeons & Dragons video. If you're watching this video the day it came out, today is April 1st, known as the Fool's Day. It is the day of comedy, the day of pranks, the day of silly player shenanigans. But that doesn't mean that you can't spice things up at the table as well. So I decided for today, in honor of April 1st, we're going to talk about 10 pranks that you can pull on your players. They're incredibly easy to do, and they're relatively fun, in my opinion. So, without further ado, let's get into the first one. So this one's kind of nifty. You give a monster an armor class of 10. That's it. Simple as that. But every time that monster gets attacked, you roll a d20 and add that to the monster's AC. The monster could have, as low as 11 AC, making him very easy to hit, or his armor class could be as high as 30. Now, depending on the level of player you're dealing with, obviously you could change the dice on this. If they're a low-level party, maybe roll a d6 instead. If they're a high-level party, maybe roll 2d10s, or 2d8s, or maybe even 2d20s if you're feeling particularly prankish. Whatever the reason, though, this will keep the players constantly confused as to why low numbers hit and then suddenly high numbers didn't, maybe even making them think that they're fighting multiple monsters who just happen to take up the same area. The second idea is also very fun. You just, start writing in your book, in your notebook, however you do, look up at the players and go, everyone make a charisma saving throw. The key to this prank is no matter what number they give you, respond only with, interesting, and then go back to what you were doing. This will leave them confused, terrified, and constantly asking you, what was the save for? Did something happen? The lower the number, the more terrified they will be. Number 3, describe a monster in incredible detail. We're talking describe the claws that rake across the sand as their wings unfurl in front of you. Sparks of electricity spark out from their toothy maw as their blue scales shimmer in the sunlight. And then your player says, oh, okay, you're describing a blue dragon. We're fighting a blue dragon. Don't ever confirm that. Tell them it's hard to tell. Couldn't really figure that out. You've never seen a creature like this before. But make sure you make the description so obvious as to what they're fighting, but never confirm that's what they're fighting. Just a little head game right there. The next prank is strikingly similar. Over-describe an NPC. In the back corner of the room is a goblin juggling his knives. Each knife has a name written upon it. The left eye of the goblin seems to move desynchronized with the right, constantly waving about as his knives, while they fly, switch into little axes before turning back into knives as he catches them. Make the NPC as interesting as possible, and then make him completely irrelevant to the plot. He's a cobbler. That's it. Put as much effort as you can into describing the NPC, and then just don't do anything with them. The next prank has the caveat that you use ambient music. I personally like to use music when I DM, though I can't really do that in public spaces because there's just too much noise going on to begin with. But in my more private sessions with friends, I like to use music. An interesting prank you could pull is roll some dice, switch the music to boss battle music, don't say anything to the players, roll some more dice, then immediately switch the music back to the ambience. Like just random boss music, never explain what it was. Next up on my list of pranks, it's a mimic. Just a mimic. I mean, obviously mimics are like the OG prank of D&D, but yeah, just make any object a mimic. Player sits down in a chair, it's a mimic. Player opens a door, the door is a mimic. Ceiling tile falls on the player, ceiling tile is a mimic. Just make it a mimic. The next prank has a chance to backfire horribly. I have a pretty long story on this, but give your players an empty closet. This closet could have just a broom sitting in it, could be perfectly empty, but make it make it a useless closet. But put it somewhere dangerous. The middle of a lich's lair, a mad scientist's laboratory, a goblin cave for low-level players, but put nothing in this, no matter how high their perception roll, no matter how paranoid the players may seem. In fact, the more paranoid the player, the better. But give them an empty closet. They will at least spend 20 minutes, guaranteed, on this closet. Next prank, theme your encounter based on a movie or a television show. As the players emerge from the forest into the swamp, they find all the fairies that the evil lord of the land has banished. Now they know that this is the spot they've been banished to, and this swamp area is kind of a safe haven for now, but they do need to gather up the fairies and bring them safely home. Suddenly, they hear the movement of the earth as stone begins to give way, and an ogre steps out in front of them and says, "What are you doing in my swamp?" And then the players fight Shrek. So yeah, just base it off a movie and see how long it takes for your players to get the reference. One time I had a Griff and a Gith working together. One was named Jameson, one was named Mako. One was very standardly strong guy, quiet type. The other one loved explosions, particularly beads of fireball. Jameson and Mako also happened to be the names of Junkrat and Roadhog from Overwatch. It took a decent amount of time before they got the reference, but to see the little gears turning in their head as they realize you're referencing something, it's fun to watch. The penultimate prank on this list. Build up a massive, terrifying encounter. Don't make it the big bad evil guy. Just make it something that randomly happened. But make it something big. I recommend a Tarrasque. Bring this giant monster to the forefront. Have your players roll a history check to know just how terrifying it is. The lower level the player, the better. And as the giant monster roars at them, see if they run. If they don't, if one of them tries to attack the Tarrasque, have it die instantly. That's right, 1 health Tarrasque, only 1 health. That way, the players, if they run away, you've totally pranked them with this super weak monster that some peasant can knock over if needed. Or, you even one-up them. If they start to run away, have some idiot child run up and kill the thing instantly, taking all the glory for himself. But yeah, 1 HP Tarrasque, that's another idea. And finally, the most powerful and devious prank on this list, show your players this video. Let them watch and see all the other pranks on the video, because now they know the pranks, and they don't know if you're pulling it or not. Thank you for watching as always, and I will see you in the next video. This is the Hero of Julios, Xing out.